Hello, everybody. Now, as some of you may have been aware, I recently made a video talking firstly about the new Gambling Commission regulations and suggestions, but also I touched upon a tweet from Craig Slots. There's no point in not saying who it is because everyone knows. And Craig has actually come back, and you may have seen it in the video comments, but he's actually come back and sent me a response video. Which I'll link below actually. What people normally do in these instances is I'll have Craig's video playing in the background and I'll pause it and talk about it, kind of in the way he did with mine. But his was, to his credit, a half hour long, and that would make mine an hour long. And then if he responds, and before you know it, you're already bored of us going backwards and forwards. So, first thing I'll say is, Craig's asked if I ever want to sort of get in touch with him, and I will. Craig, by the time you see this, I might have actually been in touch, mate. Second thing as well is that I think I think fair play to him. I think the easiest thing for Craig to have done in this instance would have been to ignore me. In terms of following, in terms of the number of subscribers we have, views, and blah blah blah, and all the rest of it. His channel dwarfs mine substantially. So the easiest thing for Craig to have done would have been completely ignore my video. Pretend it never existed. Not address it and just crack on, and I wouldn't have blamed him for doing that. To be honest, I think maybe in his position, in all honesty, maybe that's what I would have done. So, fair play to him for coming out, putting together a half-hour response video, and actually, it's really good. And I'm not going to be too sort of critical about it. Two reasons for that, really. Firstly, because he makes some good points, and I'll address them in a second. But secondly, I don't want this to be I've never wanted this to be kind of an us versus them thing. I don't think us. It has to be gamblers or problem gamblers or recovering gamblers or whatever you want to label yourself as in my sort of, along with myself, versus everyone in the gambling industry, because that's not beneficial. It's so much better if we can work together, and whether or not retrospectively, the video I made was maybe presented in the right way, and we'll come on to that. Hopefully it has meant that I am now on Craig's radar, as I am with a number of other streamers and video makers, and we do actually talk, reasonably frequently with each other. And maybe we can have a conversation, and something productive can come out of it. Because I'm not here to, I'm not here for YouTube drama. It's nothing. It's something that doesn't interest me aside from watching it occasionally. Apparently, you fall down those rabbit holes late at night on YouTube, and you can't sleep. I'm not one for creating YouTube drama myself, and like I say, I think gambling addiction particularly is quite a serious subject, and it's not something that should be sort of clickbaited or used for YouTube views. So firstly, I would say, well done, well done, I'm so patronising, sorry. Thank you to Craig for coming back to me. Like I say, it would have been very, very easy to just ignore me and I would have gone away. If you look at my videos, that's the point I was going to make anyway. If you look at my videos, 90% of my videos are about my experiences with gambling. They're tips on sort of gambling recovery and things like that. I'd make very few videos, sort of even talking about other people in the industry. I did make one about Dazza right back at the beginning of lockdown, and I did think he was intentionally capitalising on the lockdown, which I thought was quite a scummy move, to be completely honest with you. And I stand by that. In the same way as I stand by my comments I made on my last video about Craig's tweet, which, as he explains, as I say, I won't go into his video, I won't play it in the background or anything, I'll link it down below if you want to watch it, but he explains I took out of context, and I'm happy to accept that, I might have been wrong, I might have, immediately applied my own angle on it. I did feel he was a little bit dismissive, but, he was talking about the context of his tweet being about, the games in terms of the casino games, the slots and all the rest of it, rather than the game in general. So rather than sort of the streaming and affiliation side, he was just talking literally about the games online becoming unplayable because of the minimum spin speed, lack of autoplays. And you know what? In a sense, I understand that. Back when I was playing online slots, I was quick spinning, particularly blueprints and things like that, because it was the only way to play them, in my opinion. And autoplays a lack of autoplay would make a lot of slots, particularly big time gaming slots and things like that, completely unplayable in my eyes. It always baffled me sometimes when you went to an online casino and there wasn't an autoplay function on Bonanza. You just think, well, it's just not possible to play this game. So, I'm happy to accept, although I stand by what I say with regards to his response, I do accept that maybe I put too much of a slant on the affiliation side, and actually looking at it retrospectively, maybe he was just literally talking about the experience of playing online casinos in the future. And I don't want this video to come across as me backing down because a bigger YouTuber has come along and called me out. It's not like that. My video was never intended as like a call out. It was never intended as a criticism. And as I said at the front end of this video, I really don't want it to become a case of us versus them, because I don't think that's beneficial to me, to my community, to anyone struggling with gambling addiction, in as much as it's not any good for them either. So there's that. Craig goes on. He talks about, very, very quickly, I will touch on this because actually I remember this. He talks about someone who used to make YouTube videos called Paul D. I think he called him Phil D a couple of times in his video, but I think that's probably because he's talking about me at the same time. And I think I remember him. I can't remember if he was the guy that did videos like this. I think I wouldn't say put myself in the same category. I think he was one of those who was more aggressively calling out streamers all the time, rather than actually trying to be constructive, which I like to think of. At least 90% of my videos are there to be constructive and there to help. I think Paul D and there are others gone before who have basically just gone all out to try and slate the streamers and the video creators and stuff and affiliates and what have you. I don't know whether he was the same guy that then went on to try his hand at streaming, which I remember actually Craig I think it was on Casino Master, then called him out for. I think he kind of came creeping, trying to crawl back to the, he abandoned one community and then sort of tried to join another and kind of went crawling over to the streamer side who wouldn't have him. And in that respect, say fair play to him. Why would you? If someone's been there trying to shut you down, criticising you all the time, and then wants to come over and be your friend, I think you're very, very entitled to say, fuck off, we don't want you. So, I do remember that. He might be a different guy altogether, but I'm sure it's happened multiple times. I've written down here trolls/criticism, and I think this is an important point to make. Is I like to think of myself as someone who can critique, can ask questions of people, of the industry. That's always kind of been my plan. I don't ever want to step over that line towards trolling. I don't think I get negative comments. I get personal insults. It's just it's so pointless. Like Craig said, to be honest, I think we come from certainly come from the same place geographically, and I think historically, although we may have taken slightly different routes with stuff, I think we come from sort of roughly the same place, in terms of our background. So, I don't think trolling is ever really acceptable. And I did say in my video, maybe I left it too late, maybe I left it right to the end, but I did say I don't want anyone from, any of my followers, anyone who watches these videos, who takes it as an attack on streamers. It's not, it's a critique, it's asking questions and going over there and insulting them. And Craig was saying in his video that he deletes so many comments, but he gets, not just personal insults. I've had people call me fatty and balding and all the rest of it, and I wore off a duck's back, to be honest with you. But those I can deal with. But apparently he's had death threats and threats made towards his kids and all the rest of it, and that's just fucking wrong. There's no need for that. I don't care. Let's face it. On the in the grand scheme, think what you like about casino marketing, casino affiliation. It's not the world's biggest crime. It's not legally a crime, and it's certainly nothing that deserves people having threats made against them. Just don't do it. It's stupid, and I don't like to see it. I did see it. Craig touched upon it in his video. I saw it in the Casino Meister forum. Actually, it was on a thread that was started by someone posting one of my videos about the casino grounds thing that happened a little while ago. And someone was basically threatening him, offering him outside for a fight and what have you. And I don't know. The risk of being unpopular with my own followers, I don't want any part of that. I don't want any part of just abusing people. if you think that affiliation is immoral, if you think that marketing an addictive product is wrong, that's absolutely fine, and you're very entitled to that opinion. But I don't want to be someone who encourages this group of people that Craig refers to multiple times as just going over and calling them sort of leeches and scum and parasites and all the rest of it, because it doesn't achieve anything. You know what? I think the best thing that could come out of this video is that if I can have a chat with Craig, maybe there's a way we can work together in the future to help protect vulnerable people, because that's my job. And I do regret maybe slightly that recently a couple of my last 3 videos have been about, more about drama and more about the sort of affiliate side and stuff, which maybe is a bit, it's not in keeping with really what I was trying to do. I think it's important sometimes to report on these things, but not to get to maybe too bogged down in them. I've just looked at the clock and already rambling for 11 minutes, so sorry guys, but I wanted to address Craig's points, and I think, as he went out of his way to make the video, like I say, which he really didn't have to do, because it would have been forgotten about very, very quickly. And actually, I will mention, for what it's worth, that I watch Craig's videos. I watch a lot of streamers' videos. I actually watch Roller's streams. Some I don't watch just because they're not, not to my taste. But I do, and actually I have treated it as part of my recovery, which may come across as incredibly hypocritical. And if it does, then, fair play. I respect that. I am just a bloke sharing his opinions and stuff, and I don't claim to be the oracle. I don't claim to be a moral compass, and I don't, I don't claim to be someone. I think someone commented on Craig's tweet when he sent the reply video, and said, these gambling do-gooders have got really boring. And I did take a step back and think, I don't want to be a gambling do-gooder. I'm not a do-gooder. I've gambled the vast majority of my adult life. I drink too much. I have other, interests and stuff that aren't necessarily the healthiest. And so, yeah, I would not class myself as a do-gooder in any way, shape or form. My concern is people developing gambling addictions and trying to get help and recover from those addictions. So, no, don't treat me as a moral compass. I don't want to be that. I don't want to be the streamer police. And maybe I've gone over the top with that recently. Maybe I've talked about it too much. Maybe I have, although I never wanted to. Maybe I have encouraged, people to go over to these streamers and send them abuse and threats and stuff. And I don't want that. I'm very, very happy to be critical, and I maintain my opinions. Like I say, this hasn't changed my opinion on anything. And if you look back, actually, over my last videos, you'll see my opinion's been pretty consistent on streamers. It varies maybe on individual people, depending on what they do, but it doesn't change my opinion. But I don't want it to become an us versus them thing, where we're trading insults. I notice that when my videos get sometimes posted on Casino Meister, or I think Roller shared one, and I think there might have been a mention of it on Gambler's Den. I might be wrong, but in various forums my videos have popped up. And you can tell because I get a little influx of dislikes, which is fine, and if people dislike the videos, that's cool. But like I say, I don't want it to be us versus them. I don't want everyone watching my videos to rush over and dislike Craig's latest slot compilation or whatever, or send him abuse. And the same way as I don't want his fans, the guys who follow him, to come over and give me abuse, because I don't think I deserve it. So there you go. That's that. Yeah, I've written here, I don't want to breed cyberbullies. That's pretty much that's what I covered. I don't want to breed cyberbullies. That's the last thing I want to do. I want to help people. I want to report on the news of gambling. And to be honest, that last video, the only reason that actually existed was because I saw Craig's tweet. And I saw the link, obviously, that was attached to it about the UKGC regulations. I thought, I want to talk about that. But I did also I also did think, in all honesty, that Craig's tweet was a bit offhand. And he goes into in his response video, he goes into great detail about why it was offhand, and because it's because it's the umpteenth time that he's sort of responded to such comments, which I understand. I still stand by my comments on it. I think it was a bit brief, a bit dismissive, but I can to some extent understand. If you've explained the same thing many, many times before, you probably do become exasperated by it, and particularly when you're not sure whether someone is, like I'd like to think of myself, as someone who's genuinely critiquing what you're doing, and genuinely raising questions and saying, is this right? Is this moral? Is this correct? Or is it just someone who's a troll who's just after a reaction and just wants an argument? In which case, I can understand not wanting to spend ages formulating a decent response. So I do get that. As it happens, actually, I think the guy who posted on Craig's tweet posted this morning, and sort of said something along the lines of, no, that's how you have a conversation, and I think that's very true. And like I say, fair play and good props to Craig for reaching out, making that video, addressing what I said, explaining where he thinks I misinterpreted what he said, and explaining what he does. He said, in his video, he said it behind the scenes. And I have no reason to disbelieve him. You can, obviously, you can breathe what you like into this, but I have no reason to disbelieve him. He does say he helps a lot of people with regards to gambling problems. He says he promotes GamStop and all the rest of it, and that's why I think that we could be better off working with the gambling community. I don't mean the website; I mean the community of people who gamble. Well, that said, Roller has actually promoted me through his forum. Working together rather than have this division where, everyone's calling them parasites and scum and making threats and that, which is fucking unhelpful. And maybe we can, I don't know, maybe at our side of the defence we can feedback and maybe, give advice on how they can help people better. I don't know. Like I say, this is completely ad lib. I've just watched Craig's video. I've not been up long. I'm on coffee number 2. I've got to start work in a minute, so there's that. What else have I noted? The one bit of the video I didn't like, and the couple bits I didn't like, to be honest, Craig. Firstly, that you obviously reacted to it live, which was cool. The problem is you made a counterpoint to me, which then when you watch the next bit of the video, I then sort of covered off, like you were saying, about getting abusive comments, and then literally in the next breath, as you unpaused it, I was talking about, people sending abusive comments and how it's wrong. But the main point I didn't like is the last bit, where you went through my comment section and you pulled out various people's comments, and there are some negative comments in there. There are, by and large, I like to think that they're constructive and they're just people giving their opinion. But yeah, there will be abusive comments in there, and you know what it's like. You can't control your comment section, and likewise, I'll be completely honest with you, Craig. I don't want to overly moderate my comment section. If it comes out and it's just straight up abuse, and I see it, I'll remove it. But if it's someone's opinion, but they voice it strongly or whatever, I'm not going to remove it. And the way I see it, if they're in my comment section, they're not in yours. If these are people that are then going over to your comments and what have you, then I will plead with anyone watching these videos not to do that. It's not needed. Craig said in his video he's open to conversation. So if you have questions and stuff, I guess then go over and post them. And I'm sure he'll respond in due course. But if you've written in my comment section, they're all parasites, they're all scum, whatever, blah blah blah, then just leave it in my comment section. Don't bother going over and abusing people personally, because it's not worth it, is it? And also, one thing I'd say, Craig, is that in that bit where you read some of my comments, you'll notice that I'd replied to a lot of the ones and that you pointed out. And actually, I'd like to think that in my replies, I've been quite sort of moderate. I've been, practical, pragmatic in my responses. I've actually given, level-headed responses, and I've not promoted hate. I've not tried to stir it up, and I've not tried to make it a kind of them and us thing. What else have I written? Yeah, I've just written at the end here, be good to talk, and it would. So yeah, Craig, by the time you see this, mate, I might as well have been in touch. But yeah, I'll leave it there because we're nearly at 20 minutes. Two things I want to come out with this video. Firstly, I want to say thank you to Craig for responding. Like I say, I've said multiple times, you didn't have to. This would have gone away. I hope I haven't caused you personally any issues. I don't want my critique of what you're doing, which is, I think, fair and reasonable, to have any personal impact on you. I don't want you to get threats. I don't want you to get abuse. I don't want anyone threatening your family and bullshit like that, because that's just fucking hideous. And I'm sorry that you have to put up with that. Maybe from people who are, supporting me. And if that loses me support, then so be it. I don't want that. but I think it is fair and reasonable to question, streamers and affiliates with what they're doing. Secondly, I will probably try now to go back a bit more to making more sort of practical, constructive videos on addiction and recovery, which is one of what I've done historically. Obviously, if anything catches my eye, or if someone particularly wants me to talk about something, then I will. I don't want to become embroiled in drama. It's not helpful. It's not helpful for me. Obviously, it's not helpful for you, and it's not helpful for the people who need advice, need help, and maybe need some direction with their recovery. Which I think, we'll have a conversation. And hopefully, we can work together to protect those vulnerable people. Last thing, I know I said that's my last thing, but actually I just remembered something you said in your video, which I can only take on face value, and I can only believe because you said it, which is if you had the ability to, block people from signing up through your links if you knew they were vulnerable, that you would do that. Now, I think if that's true, I mean, I would happily handle that with a dose of scepticism, but maybe if that's true, it'd be interesting to see if there's a way that we can do that, whether there's implementation of some form of register or something. I don't know, but it's an interesting idea going forward. Anyway, cheers to you guys for watching. As always, leave your comments. If you're going to be abusive and horrible to people, do it in my comment section, not in anyone else's. Leave your questions, leave your thoughts. Maybe I'll try and set up a little interview or conversation with the streamer, or maybe even Craig if he's up for it. But yeah, we'll revisit this at some point. But for now, that's me done. Cheers for watching, and have a good day, guys. Take it easy.